Dearest beloved divine friends, family, brothers and sisters, your friend, your brother, me, HAJJI, Dr. ROSHAN Khan, in the raw, Arcade, Guyana Free Media. I saw a little article following the budget presentation in Guyana by His Eminence, the Power, the Mighty, by one of the ministers within the grouping of ministers of the Office of the President watching over finance, and so wise of Dr. Irfan Ali and his team. I don't believe it's a one-man thing. The people believe somehow or the other they must have one minister of finance, you must have a president. Yes, you have a president. But the president and leadership of a nation is not a man. A lot of people don't understand. The president or the office of the president or the office of the presidency or friends and families, the presidency. It is not an individual. It stands for an institution. And if you have a president who is like most can't speak, virtually voiceless, he leaves everything to a particular man who is like the real president, and the president is like a puppet, as we saw what is accused and appears to have been allegedly and apparently in the last government, whereby the minister of the presidency was the president and the president was like a figurehead. The fact and truth of the fact is, in this government, as I can see as a commentator, an observer, and a patriot, is that the presidency is not an individual, but it is so much more than a personality, a man. It stands for the nation, a committee, a group, and I like to put it, an institution. Let's go to the article that is written about Ashni Singh, the giant, the master of finance. Love and respect to you, Mr. Ashni Singh. Dr. Ashni Singh. When his name is called, like Bharat Jagdev, now Irfan Ali, some people in the opposition, they can't sleep. I sat to hear too, because I got nowhere to go. But Guyana, it seems, I was willing to go anywhere anyone want to send me to serve this country. It seems I have nowhere to go. I'm just in Guyana, but I'll do the best I can. So I feel sorry for Mr. Harman, because I need to understand when the man hears my name, he gets sick, cold sweat, perspiration pouring down his face. And even when he goes to bed or he dozes off and he's chewing while he's dozing, while he's chewing and dozing at the same time, the two seems to go simultaneously, he's calling my name. Mr. Harman, I'm sorry, man. I haven't done anything to deserve such a status. And I have nothing against you, even though you try to wipe my business out. Actually, you did to a certain level, but the Lord God would not have allowed you. And then he wiped you out. From out of your mouth comes your own destruction. Moses said to the power Lord, Pharaoh, out of your mouth comes your own curse. Now, back to Ashni Singh. The topic is, and it was taken from one of the newspapers, I wore those handcuffs like a badge of honor. How they try to denigrate and disgrace some people and to wipe out the PPP while they were in opposition. If you notice, they couldn't. They're only wiping themselves out by trying to destroy what is the PPP. And I'm no PPPite. I speak for what is true and what is right. So there are times when PPP might have accused me of being PNCite because I was defending the PNC. And I was speaking gloriously of the PNC, particularly because of one personality, Hugh Desmond Hoyt. So, because I'm speaking for what is the government, some people want to say, oh, he's PPP. This is a sad reality of Guyana. Some of us have to speak the truth. So I wore those handcuffs like a badge of honor. How they tried to destroy that gentleman. The final day of budget 2021 debates almost coinciding with the one-year anniversary of the Partnership for National Unity Alliance for Change government loss at the polls featured reflections from one of the targets of the previous government's political witch hunting. In a fiery closing presentation on 2021 budget debate, Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh spoke of how he bravely faced the trumped-up charges that were brought against him on April 2018, which were eventually withdrawn by the Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCO, last year. It is well known fact that the AFC government spent hundreds of millions of dollars doing audits, high, low, left, right, center, searching everywhere, found not a scintilla of wrongdoing on my part. And then trumped up charges. I came back voluntarily to Guyana to face the charges. Ladies and gentlemen, commentary, this is the mark of a hero, a fearless man. You do nothing, then you fear nothing. He didn't come to concede, as we saw a man who was operating a security service through a certain top-ranking man in the office of the presidency, who was a drug dealer in America, who escaped from justice, but who negotiated eventually when he was getting pressure from the man of the office of the presidency because he was not happy with the amount of money he was getting. It was all about money. This man decided, listen, I'm going to give myself up to the United States. He go catch a plane, he fly back in the USA, and he surrendered himself. This is not what Ashni Singh did. Ashni Singh returned as a conquering hero to face the charges. For righteousness shall exalt ye, saith the Bible. Speak the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Stand for justice. Even if you have to give evidence against your own selves, do not disturb justice. Quran. Ladies and gentlemen, I truly salute Ashni Singh and respect the man. And the APNO AFC spent hundreds of millions of dollars, which we need to try to get back. They can't go and spend people money to bring down and destroy a set of people, paying their high-priced lawyers who could do nothing but were not advising them right, and were just taking the money. We need to find a way, Government of Guyana, to get that money back. Find some way to even a private criminal charge against these guys. Put a group of us. Do it in our name. Let us bring some private criminal charges against the former government officials who spend this money. That dictatorial APNO AFC government, after I came back voluntarily to attend the court, and instructed the policeman to put me in handcuffs and parade me there so they can take a picture and put me on the front page of the newspapers. And you dare come and talk about decency, you dare to talk about public service. So they wanted to embarrass, humiliate, make their supporters feel good and jubilant, so they will destroy people. This is one terrible thing about politics, you know. And same thing with the monarchies. When they see a competition, they wipe their head off, wipe off their family, wipe off every bloodline possible. This is what they were doing. They were trying to destroy the PPPC while they were in power, and trying to embarrass and humiliate this poor man by putting him in a handcuff on the front page of the newspapers. This is terrible. Terrible. The minister noted that his experience with victimizations at the hands of a politicized police force steeled rather than cowed his resolve to push for the removal of the APNO AFC government from office. They didn't scare him. They encouraged him, pushed him to do the right thing. The minister noted that his experience with the victimization at the hands of the politicized police force steeled him and cowed him. Repetition for emphasis. Mr. Speaker, they believed that I would have been humiliated and cowed by that. I wore those handcuffs as a badge of honor. You thought you could humiliate and cow me? I said silently to myself that I would devote the rest of my life to ensuring that the APNU AFC is removed from government and never return again. But it was not only me. And I'm telling you, I never thought I would say basically the same words. You've heard me, ladies and gentlemen, right here on In the Raw. The APNU AFC will never come back to power again, at least for another 25 years. They are saying, I'm saying 100 years. They are not. They will have to disintegrate and disappear. They will have to beg to be absorbed in the government because of what they did to men like Ashni Singh, Vice President Dr. HAJJI, and others, how they tried to humiliate these people. What a total grand shame, I would say. But I was not the only one. Just as I said, I would spend the rest of my life to make sure these people are removed from government. Thousands and thousands and thousands of Guyanese people made the same decision. The minister said a reference to APNU AFC being voted out of office last year. In 2018, after 3 years of witch hunting, the then APNU AFC railroaded SOCU into bringing criminal charges against Dr. Singh, the then former finance minister and former National Industrial and Commercial Investment Limited NISIL head, alleging that Singh and Winston Bassington had sold state land below the valuation. The duo was first charged back in 2018 and then released on $6 million bail each. Despite all of the investigations, the type of charge eventually brought against Singh and Bassington was not found in the statute books of Guyana, but relied on a UK law. The duo was first charged back, but relied on a UK law because they had an advisor who was from the United Kingdom and who probably thought because Guyana inherited the legal statutes from England, which England originally had refused, and which Canada and other territories took, they didn't realize that our statute might have been upgraded. And so there was no statute by which they could have been charged. Both Singh and Bassington had always maintained that they did not personally sell any government land, but it was NISIL government. It was NISIL/government that sold the land. Singh and Bassington also maintained that they merely acted as directors and fully complied with all applicable policies and procedures in conducting the sale. Dr. Singh and Bassington in turn had mounted a High Court challenge to the legality of the charges laid against them by the former Director of Public Prosecution, by the Director of Public Prosecution, Shalimar Ali Haq, SC, Senior Counsel. Among other things, their lawyers had contended that the offence and misconduct in office, contrary to common law, is an abuse of process, malicious, biased, capricious, arbitrary, and without proper evidential basis. They had further argued that the charges were bad in faith, unreasonable, discriminatory, unlawful, and influenced by irrelevant and improper consideration and motives null, void, and of no effect. From the moment the charges were laid, the People's Progressive Party, including former Civic President Dr. HAJJI and Donald Ramatar, had always called out the charges for being politically motivated, and sure enough, following the change of government in August 2020, SOCU withdrew the charges at the next court hearing 4 months later. So Ashni Singh, whom they tried to embarrass, and I don't know if the operator could find, I will put over here the photograph of Ashni Singh in handcuffs, trying to embarrass and destroy and break that man and denigrate his wife and his children publicly, friends and families. Yes, they did that. And they did it to so many other people. And in addition, tried to destroy my very own business that I built for 40 years. In that case, it would have been about 36 or 37 years when they took power. In 3 months, this man of hate tried to destroy me along with a small cabal. But look at where he is. And look at where the PPPC is. Look at where APNO is. And look at where I am, still at peace. The PPPC has done nothing for me, and I will not ask them. I leave things sera sera, and I will live my life in dignity and honor. I've offered my services to serve Guyana in any capacity, locally or internationally, but they don't seem interested. But I wish them well, and I will always stand for the government of the day and support them for the development and growth of Guyana. Your friend, your brother, me, HAJJI, Dr. ROSHAN Khan, in the raw, saying thank you and farewell.